Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Jennifer. Today, we're going to learn about something called derivatives. Now, I know, it sounds like a very big, complicated word, right? But trust me, the idea behind it is actually very, very simple. We'll go through it slowly, step by step, and I promise you, by the end of this, you will understand it perfectly. Shall we start?
So, let's begin with a simple question. Tell me, have you ever booked a train ticket, say for a journey you plan to take next month? You have, right? You pay the money today at a fixed price to make sure your seat is confirmed for that future journey. Well, that simple act, fixing a price today for something that will happen in the future, that is the main idea of a derivative. See? Simple. Just keep this train ticket example in your mind as we move forward.
Okay, so now for the proper definition. Don't worry, it's easy. A derivative is a financial contract, and its value comes from something else. That something else is called an underlying asset. Let's look at our train ticket example again. The ticket itself is the contract, but what gives the ticket its value? It's the journey you will take in the future, isn't it? So that journey is the what? The underlying asset. A derivative is just a contract about the value of something in the future. That's all.
Right, so think of it like this. When we cook a delicious dish like biryani, there are some key ingredients, some masalas we need, right? Same way, every derivative has a few main ingredients. If we understand these ingredients one by one, the whole thing will become so easy to understand. So, let's look at the first ingredient.
The first and most important ingredient is the underlying. We just talked about it, remember? It's the main thing that the contract is all about. It can be the price of mangoes at the market, the score in a cricket match, or, like in our example, that future train journey. It is the what that gives our contract its value. Simple, right?
Okay, next ingredient. You see, any agreement needs at least two people, no? In a derivative, we call the other person in the contract a counterparty. It's just a fancy word for the other side. So if you agree to buy mangoes from a shopkeeper next week at a fixed price, you are one party, and who is the counterparty? The shopkeeper. Exactly. In our train ticket example, you are one party, and the railways is your counterparty. Easy.
And our third ingredient is maturity. Another big word, but a very simple idea. Maturity is just the final date, the end date of the agreement. For our train ticket, the maturity date is the day of your journey. For the mangoes, it's the day you go to the shopkeeper to collect them. It's simply the final day when the deal is completed.
All right, time for a small test. Let's look at this example. A company, let's call it AMY, agrees to sell 1,000 of its shares to a bank. The price is fixed today at 30 euros for each share. But the actual exchange will happen in 6 months. So, let's find our ingredients. What is the underlying here? What is the thing the contract is about? Yes, the shares. And who are the counterparties? The two sides of the deal? Correct. The company, AMY, and the bank. And finally, what is the maturity? The final date, 6 months from now. See, you've got it. It's the same simple logic.
So, we now know what a derivative is and what its main parts are. But why? Why do people make these kinds of contracts? What is the use? That's a very good question. Let's find out the answer. One of the biggest reasons people use derivatives is to manage risk. The special word for this is hedging. Think of it this way. If you think it might rain, what do? You carry an umbrella, right? Just in case. Hedging is like carrying a financial umbrella. You make a deal today to lock in a price, to protect yourself if prices go up or down in a bad way tomorrow. People also use them for other reasons, like reducing costs or investing in something without needing all the money right now. They're very useful tools, really.
Excellent. We are making such good progress. Now, the next question is, where do you get these derivatives from? Where are they bought and sold? Well, there are two main kinds of markets. And to understand this, let's think about something simple we all do, buying a shirt. So imagine you need a new shirt. You have two choices, right? You can go to a big store and buy a ready-made one. It comes in standard sizes, small, medium, large. Everyone gets the same kind of shirt. Or You can go to your local tailor. He will take your measurements and stitch a shirt that is made just for you. The two markets for derivatives are exactly like this. One is like the ready-made shirt, and the other is like the tailor-made one. Now, let's look at the differences. The ready-made market is called exchange-traded, or ETD. The contracts are standardized, all the same, just like the shirts in the shop. The tailor-made market is called over-the-counter, or OTC. The contracts are customized just for you. So OTC gives you more flexibility, of course, but the ETD market is very open and transparent. Everyone knows the price. The tailor shop is more private, just between you and him. Now, here is the important part, risk. In the big shop, the shop guarantees the shirt. With the tailor, it's just between you and him. So the risk is a bit higher. And that brings us to a very important problem.
Just think about it for a second. What happens if you pay the tailor in advance, but before he gives you the shirt, he closes a shop and just disappears? Or what if that big shop suddenly shuts down? In both situations, you've paid the money, but you don't have your shirt. That's a big problem, isn't it? You could lose everything you paid.
This problem, the risk that the other person in your deal won't keep their promise, has a name. It's called counterparty risk, and it's a very serious risk. So to solve this problem, people came up with a clever idea. They brought in a trusted middleman. This middleman is called a central counterparty, or CCP for short. The best way to think about a CCP is like a respected elder in a village. Imagine two people in the village make a deal. To make sure nobody cheats, they both give their money or goods to the elder for safekeeping. The elder then guarantees that the deal will be completed properly. The CCP does exactly this. When two people make a derivative trade, the CCP steps into the middle. It becomes the new counterparty to both of them. So now, it is the buyer for the seller and the seller for the buyer. This way, if one person runs away, the CCP makes sure the other person still gets what they were promised. It removes the counterparty risk. Very clever, no? Phew. Okay, we have learned quite a lot today. Let's just take a moment to do a quick recap, just to make sure we remember all the important points. So let's go over the main takeaways. First, a derivative gets its value from an underlying asset, like our train journey. Second, it's a contract between two counterparties for a future date, which we call the maturity date. Third, a very important use for them is to manage risks, something we call hedging, remember our financial umbrella. And fourth, they are traded in two kinds of markets, the ready-made exchange market and the tailor-made OTC market. Got it?
Misquote here really explains why derivatives are so important. What it's saying is that because of derivatives, people can do so much more than just buying and selling things for cash today. It opens up a whole new world of possibilities for managing money and risk.
So now you know the basics, and I want to leave you with a question to think about. Think about a farmer in our country. His entire year's income depends on the monsoon rains, right? So how could a derivative, a contract whose underlying is the amount of rainfall, how could that help a simple farmer protect himself from the risk of a bad monsoon? It's a wonderful example of how these ideas can be used to help real people. Give it some thought. Thank you so much for learning with me today.
Hello, my dear students, and welcome. My name is Jennifer. Today, we are going to learn about something called derivatives. Now, I know it sounds like a very big, complicated word, doesn't it? But please don't worry. We will go through this together, step by step, very, very slowly. Okay, so here is our plan for today, our little roadmap. First, we'll talk about a simple idea, a promise for the future. Then we'll see what happens when that promise becomes firm, binding. After that, we'll look at how these promises can be made standard for everyone. Then we move to a different idea, a flexible choice. And finally, we will put everything together and see the big picture. Are you ready? Let's start. So before we jump into the big words, let's just think about a simple question for a moment. Imagine you need to buy, let's say, a big bag of rice next month for your family, but you are worried, what if the price of rice goes up by then? So the question is there any way for you to lock in the price today for the rice you need to buy next month? Just keep this idea in your mind because it is the key to understanding everything we are going to discuss. Okay, so what is this big word derivative? Well, it's actually very simple. A derivative is just a financial contract, an agreement whose value is based on, or you see, derived from, something else. Think about a cricket match. You have the total score on the scoreboard, right? Now, that total score, it doesn't have a value by itself. Its value comes from, it is derived from, the runs that each batsman scores. So the total score is like the derivative, and the runs scored by the batsman, that is what we call the underlying asset. Simple, isn't it? Now, here is the interesting part. All of these derivatives, no matter how complicated they sound, they all belong to one of two simple families. The first family is what we call a firm promise. It's just like you promising your local shopkeeper that you will definitely buy milk from him every day for the next month. It's a commitment. The second family is a flexible choice. This is more like booking a train ticket in advance. You have the ticket, you have the choice to travel, but if your plans change, you don't have to go, right? It's an option. We are going to look at both of these families one by one. All right, so let's begin with our first family. This is the family of the firm promise. In the world of finance, they have a name for this. They call it forward commitments. Let's see what that means. Okay, so a forward contract. This is a very simple idea. It's exactly like going to your local vegetable vendor and telling him, next month I will buy 10 kilos of onions from you and I will pay today's price. You see, it's a private agreement just between you and the vendor. It's over the counter, as they say. No money changes hands today. You have just made a firm promise to each other for the future. So, what happens next month when it's time to buy the onions? Well, let's think about it. If the price of onions in the market has gone up, you will be very happy, won't you? Because you get to buy them at the lower price you agreed on. That's a gain for you. But what if the price of onions has gone down? Now, you still have to buy them at the higher price you promised. In that case, you have a loss, and the vendor is happy. You see how it works? Your profit or loss is a straight line. If you gain, the vendor loses. If you lose, the vendor gains. It is perfectly symmetric. So, let me ask you a question. Just think for a moment. If the price of onions goes up next month, who is happier with this deal? Is it you or is it the vendor? Yes, it is you, the buyer. You get to buy cheap. Very good. You are understanding this perfectly. Now, that private promise with the vendor is great. But what if you want to make a promise like that, but not just with one person? What if you want to do it in a big, organized market, like a stock exchange? Well, that is what a futures contract is. Think of it like making that same promise to buy onions, but instead of doing it with your local vendor, you are doing it in a big, organized market, like a Mundi or a stock exchange. And because it's in a big market, everything has to be the same for everyone. It's standardized. So the contract size, the delivery date, the quality of the onions, it's all fixed by the exchange. And here's a very, very important difference. Your gains and losses are calculated and settled every single day, not just at the end. This is a very important safety feature. So this really shows us the main differences, doesn't it? A forward contract is private, just between two people. You can customize the terms. It's like getting a shirt tailor-made, just for you. But a futures contract is public, traded on an exchange. The terms are standardized, the same for everyone. It's like buying a ready-made shirt from a big shop. And remember, with futures, the accounts are settled daily, which makes it much safer because there is a clearinghouse guaranteeing the deal. Okay, the last type of firm promise we will look at is called a swap. Now, imagine you have a mobile phone plan where you pay a fixed price every month, say 500 rupees. And your friend has a different plan, where the bill changes every month depending on how much they use it. It's a variable bill. A swap is basically an agreement between you and your friend. For the next 1 year, you agree to pay his variable bill and he agrees to pay your fixed 500 rupee bill. You're swapping your payments. That's all it is. It's just a series of promises to exchange cash in the future. Okay, very good. We have understood the firm promise. Now let's move on to the second family. This one is very different. This is the family of the flexible choice. In finance, we call these contingent claims. And the most important word to remember here is choice. You have the right to do something, but you don't have to. So what is an option? An option is a contract that gives you the right, but not the obligation, to buy or sell something at a fixed price in the future. The best way to think about it is like booking a train ticket. You pay a small fee to reserve your seat for a journey next month. Now, if you decide you want to travel, great, you use the ticket. But if your plans change, you are not forced to travel, are you? You just lose that small booking fee you paid. That small fee, in the world of options, is called the premium. So, to get this wonderful choice, this flexibility, the buyer of the option has to pay a small price upfront. This is the premium. For our example, let's just say this premium is $5. This is the cost you pay for having a choice. Now, please look at this table very carefully. Let's say you bought an option, a call option, which gives you the right to buy a stock at $30. And you paid a $5 premium for this right. Now, what if the stock price in the market goes up to $40? Will you use your right? Of course you will. You can buy at $30, even though the market price is $40. That's a $10 gain, isn't it? Now, you paid $5 for the option, so your final profit is 10 minus 5, which is $5. Wonderful. But what if the stock price in the market is only $25? Would you be foolish enough to use your right to buy at 30? No, of course not. So you just let your option expire. You don't use it. What is your loss? It is only the $5 you paid for the premium. That's it. Do you see the magic in this? It is like having a safety net. Your potential loss is limited. The most you can ever lose is the small premium you paid at the start. But your potential gain is unlimited. If the stock price keeps going up, your profit can become very, very big. This is an asymmetric payoff, and it is completely different from the firm promise we saw before, isn't it? Okay, so now we have seen both families. We have seen the firm promise, and we have seen the flexible choice. So let's put them side by side and really understand the big picture. This is really the heart of our entire lesson today. With the forward commitment, the promise, both people have an obligation. There's no upfront cost. And the outcome is symmetric, a straight line. But with the contingent claim, the choice, the buyer has a right and the seller has an obligation. The buyer has to pay that upfront premium, and the outcome is asymmetric. It's not a straight line. The buyer has a safety net for their losses. So let's look at the picture for the firm promise. You can see it is a perfect straight line. If the price goes up, your profit goes up in that straight line. But if the price goes down, your loss also goes down in that same straight line. It means you have unlimited potential for profit, but also unlimited potential for loss. It is a simple, symmetric, two-way street. And now look at the picture for the flexible choice. See, it is not a straight line at all. It looks like a hockey stick, doesn't it? When the price goes down, your loss is stopped. It hits a floor. It can never be more than the premium you paid. But when the price goes up, your profit can just fly up and up and up. This is the power of the option. Limited loss, but unlimited profit. And so we come to our final question. This is the most important question for you to think about after our class today. One is a straight line, and the other is a safety net. Now that you understand the difference, when would you choose the firm promise, and when would you prefer to pay that small premium for the flexible choice with a safety net? Think about that. I hope this explainer has been helpful for all of you. Well done, everyone.
Hello, everyone. Namaste and a very warm welcome. My name is James. Today, we are going to talk about a topic called derivatives. Now, I know, this word can sound very big and very complicated, but I am giving you my promise. By the end of our short time together, you will find it is actually very, very simple.
To start, just think about this one simple question. Just imagine, what if you could decide the price of something you want to buy tomorrow, but you could fix that price today itself? What if you could do that?
Just keep that thought in your mind. It's just like booking a train ticket. Let's say you're planning your holiday for Diwali, which is 3 months away. You go on the IRCTC website today and book your AC2 tier ticket. You have paid the price today and your seat is confirmed. Now, even if the demand goes very, very high closer to Diwali, your price will not change, isn't it? You have logged in your price. That's it. That is the simple idea behind a derivative. Okay, so now let's look at the textbook definition. It says a derivative is a financial contract that gets its value from an underlying asset. Don't worry about the big words. In our train example, the ticket, that paper printout, is the derivative, and the actual train journey itself from Mumbai to Delhi is the underlying asset. The ticket has value only because the journey is going to happen. Simple, right?
So this is our lesson plan for today. We'll go step by step. First, what is it? Then we will see the good things, the benefits. Then the bad things, the risks. After that, we will see how companies and investors use them. And finally, one last thought. We will go slowly. No need to worry at all.
So, Section 1. What is a derivative? At its heart, it is just a promise. It is a simple contract about a price in the future. That's all.
Now for Section 2, the benefits. So, you might be asking, why do we need these things? Are they just for fun? No. They are very, very useful, especially in business. Let's see why.
The biggest benefit is this: managing risk. Imagine you are a farmer. You are planting wheat today, but you will only sell the wheat after 6 months. Who knows what the price of wheat will be after 6 months? It can go up, it can go down. With a derivative, the farmer can lock in a good price today for the wheat he will sell in the future. He is managing his risk.
There are other benefits also. The first one is called price discovery. It's like checking the cricket scoreboard. It doesn't just tell you the score now, it tells you the run rate, which helps you guess what the final score might be. Derivatives help us guess where prices might go in the future. Then there are operational advantages, which just means it's cheaper and easier to use them. And finally, market efficiency. This means prices change very fast when there's new information, like getting news on WhatsApp instead of waiting for tomorrow's newspaper.
Now look at this. This shows the operational advantage very clearly. Don't be scared of the big numbers. To buy this much gold from a jeweler, you need to pay the full $177,000. But if you use a gold futures contract, which is a type of derivative, you only need to give a small deposit. We call this margin. Here it is less than $5,000. So, are you understanding the magic here? With a very small amount of money, you can get control of a very big position. It's a very powerful thing. But remember, anything that is very powerful can also be very dangerous. Which brings us to Section 3, the risks. Now we have to look at the other side of the coin. The biggest benefit we just talked about is directly connected to the biggest danger. This power of using little money to control a big thing is called leverage. Think of it like this. You want to move a very heavy rock. You can't use your hands. But if you take a long wooden pole and put a small stone under it, you can lift that heavy rock. The pole is leverage. It gives you great power. But if that pole slips or breaks, that big rock can fall on you. So, leverage can make you very big profits or very, very big losses. Let's go back to our gold example. Remember this small amount, just under $5,000? This was the small deposit, the margin, that was paid. And with that small deposit, you were controlling this much gold, almost $180,000 worth. Small pole, very big rock. That is the power of leverage. Now let's see what happens if the price changes just a little bit. And look here, this is so important. The price of gold moved just a tiny amount. The person who bought the actual gold made a small profit, but the person with the futures contract, oh my goodness, He had a massive loss of almost 24% on his deposit. Why? Because that tiny price move was multiplied by the leverage. The pull slipped.
Besides leverage, there are a few other risks. Counterparty risk is very simple. Imagine you gave your tailor an advance payment to make a nice suit for you. But what if he closes his shop and runs away? That is counterparty risk, the risk that the other person will not honor their promise. Then there is basis risk, which is just a small mismatch, and liquidity risk, which means you might need cash suddenly for a margin payment, and you can't get it.
Okay, enough of the scary parts. Let's move to Section 4. How do big, responsible companies use derivatives? They use them as hedgers.
Companies are not trying to gamble. They want their profits to be stable and predictable. So they use derivatives like an umbrella to protect themselves from the rain of changing prices. For example, a German company sells something in Korea. They will get paid in Korean currency, but they need euros. They can use a derivative to lock the exchange rate today so they know exactly how many euros they will get in 3 months. No surprises.
And there are special accounting rules for this called hedge accounting. Don't worry about all the details, just see the first one, a cash flow hedge. This is exactly what our German company was doing, locking in a currency rate to make their future cash flow predictable.
Now, Section 5. Let's talk about investors. They are different. They are not just protecting themselves. I like to call them strategists. They use derivatives for more active reasons.
This makes the difference very clear. Look here. Companies, on the left, their main goal is to hedge risk, to protect. And they often use customized contracts made specially for them. But investors, on the right, their main goal is to create a strategy, usually to make a profit. And they use standardized contracts, which are available to everyone on an exchange, like the share market. So do you understand the difference? A company uses a derivative defensively, like a shield. An investor uses it offensively, like a tool to build a certain outcome. Is that clear?
And that brings us to our final section, a final thought. The most important thing I want you to remember is this. A derivative is a tool. It is a very, very powerful tool. It is not a toy to be played with lightly.
So, I will leave you with this final question. Is a derivative a powerful tool for managing risk, or is it a dangerous weapon for speculation and gambling? The answer, my dear students, is that it is both. A kitchen knife is a useful tool for a chef, isn't it? But in the hands of a thief, it becomes a dangerous weapon. The knife is the same. It all depends on who is using it and why they are using it. Thank you so much for your time, and please keep learning.
Namaste, students. I'm Jennifer. Have you ever looked at the price of something, maybe gold or company stock, and wondered, how do they decide what it will be worth tomorrow or next year? It can seem like a big mystery, no? But I promise you, it's not just guesswork. There are some very simple, very logical rules behind it all. And today, we're going to learn these secret rules together. So, let's start with this question. Why can't we just guess the price? Well, it's because the financial market is a bit like a very smart machine. It doesn't like randomness. It follows rules. And once you understand these rules, you'll see that prices are set in a very sensible way. Let's start breaking them down, shall we? Here is our plan for today. First, we will learn the most important rule of all, what I call the market's golden rule. Then, we will learn how to make a financial photocopy. It sounds interesting, no? After that, we will talk about the price of waiting. Then, we will look at costs versus benefits. And finally, a few simple questions to make sure we have understood everything. Ready? Let's begin. Okay, Section 1. The most important idea in all of finance. You will hear people say there is no such thing as a free lunch. All this means is that you cannot make a profit without taking some kind of risk. The market does not give away free money. Let me give you a very simple example. Imagine you are in the sabzi mandi, the vegetable market. One seller, let's say Ram, is selling tomatoes for 19 rupees a kilo. And just across the road, another seller, Shyam, has the exact same tomatoes for 20 rupees. What would you do? Of course, you would buy from Ram for 19 and immediately sell to Shyam's customers for 20. You make 1 rupee of pure, risk-free profit. This clever move has a fancy name, Beta. It's called arbitrage. Now, if everyone started doing this, what would happen? Ram would run out of tomatoes, and Shyam wouldn't be able to sell any. Very quickly, the prices would change and become the same. This brings us to a fundamental law, the law of one price. It just means that the same thing must have the same price everywhere. Simple, isn't it? And this same idea works for financial things too, not just tomatoes. Look at this table. Don't worry about the word bond too much. Just think of them as two identical promises. Both Bond A and Bond B promise to pay you 100 euros in the future. They are identical. But look, today their prices are different. It's just like Ram and Shyam's tomatoes. So just like with the tomatoes, a smart investor could buy the cheaper one, Bond A, and sell the more expensive one, Bond B, and they would make a guaranteed risk-free profit of 15 cents. But in the real financial markets, which are very, very fast, this free lunch would disappear in the blink of an eye. The prices would become the same almost instantly. Do you see? Excellent. So, because there is no free lunch, it leads us to our next idea. It's called making a financial photocopy. The official name is replication, but photocopy is an easier way to think about it. It just means we can build the exact same thing in two different ways. So what is this replication? Let me explain. Imagine you want to eat your favorite biryani from a famous restaurant, but you want to eat it 3 months from now. One way is to just go to the restaurant in 3 months. Another way is to buy all the ingredients today, the rice, the spices, the chicken, and cook it yourself in 3 months. You get the exact same biryani in the end. In finance, it's the same. We can create a future outcome using different ingredients today, like borrowing money and buying the asset. Look here, 2 strategies to get gold in 3 months. Strategy 1 is simple. Just agree on a price today to buy it in the future. Strategy 2 is our photocopy method. We borrow money and buy the gold right now. Now look at the final result for both. It is exactly the same. And because the market has our golden rule, no free lunch, these 2 strategies must be related. They must have the same value. Now, you might have noticed something in our second strategy. We had to borrow money. And borrowing money is never free, is it? There's always a cost. And this cost is our next big idea, the price of waiting. This price of waiting is called the risk-free rate. It's a very simple idea. Think of it like the interest you get from the bank in a fixed deposit. It's 100% safe, guaranteed return. It is the money you earn just for waiting, for letting someone else use your money for a period of time without taking any risk at all. So, this gives us our first simple formula for pricing things. The price of something in the future should be equal to its price today. We call this the spot price, plus the cost for the time you have to wait. And that cost is just the interest you would have earned at that safe, risk-free rate. Very good. But, in the real world, things can be a little more complicated. Holding on to something for a long time can have other costs, and sometimes it can even give you benefits. So now we have to look at the full picture. This full picture is called the cost of carry. Don't be scared by the name, it's just a simple idea. It's all the costs of holding something minus all the benefits. For example, if you buy a big sack of rice and you have to store it in a go-down for a year, you have to pay rent for that space. That is a cost. But what if you buy a cow? And over the year, that cow gives you milk that you can sell. That is a benefit. So this cost of carry has 3 parts. First, the price of waiting, the risk-free rate that we just learned about. Second, any other costs, like the rent for storing our rice. And third, any benefits, like the milk from our cow, or in finance, dividends from a stock. This chart shows it very clearly. We start with the price today, the spot price. We add all the costs, like the price of waiting and storage. Then we subtract any benefits, like dividends, and what we are left with is the fair price for the future. It's just simple addition and subtraction. So what is the most important thing to remember? It's very simple. If the costs of holding something are more than the benefits, then the future price will be higher than today's price. But if the benefits are greater than the costs, like our wonderful cow who gives lots of milk, then the future price can actually be lower than today's price. Is that clear? Okay, you have all been so wonderful and have listened so patiently. We have learned all the main rules. So, are you ready for a small test? Just a few questions to make sure everything is clear. Don't worry, they are not difficult. All right, question number 1. Let's read it slowly. Which of these correctly describes how to make that photocopy of an agreement to buy something in the future? Do we need to borrow money by selling a bond, or do we need to lend money by buying one? Think carefully. The answer is A. Very good, well done. To buy the asset today, you need cash, and selling a bond is just a way of borrowing that cash. See? You understand it perfectly. Okay, last question now. Think back to our cost of carry, our cow and our sack of rice. If the benefits of owning something, like getting milk from the cow, are greater than the costs, will the future price be higher or lower than today's price? The answer is the forward price will be lower. Excellent thinking. If an asset gives you a lot of benefits, it is very attractive to own it today. So many people want to buy it today, which pushes today's price up. That makes the future price look lower in comparison. You are all so smart. So there you have it. You now know the secret rules that connect today's prices to future prices. They're not so secret anymore, are they? So I will leave you with one final thought. Now that you know the rules, where will you look in the real world to find prices that seem to be breaking them? Because that, my dear students, is where the real opportunities can be found. Thank you for listening so carefully.
Hello, students. Welcome. My name is Jennifer, and today we will be learning something very interesting from the world of finance. Now, don't you worry at all. It is much, much simpler than it sounds.
Let's start with a simple question, just something for us to think about. Imagine you need to buy something in the future, but you are worried the price will go up. What can you do? Okay, let's dive into this.
Today, we will follow a very simple journey together. We will see what a forward contract is, then how its price and value are different, what happens during its life, how it ends, and finally, a special type for interest rates. Ready? So first, let us understand the basic idea. At its heart, it is just a simple promise between two people. That's all. This story is the key to understanding everything. You see, the farmer wants a guaranteed price for her oranges, and the juice company wants a guaranteed cost for their business. This little agreement they make, this is our starting point.
So, a forward contract is just a formal name for this promise between our farmer and the juice company. It's a deal for the future with the price locked in today. It's just a promise to do business later at a price we decide now. Does that make sense? Good.
Now, let's move on and see how this builds. We need to understand two very important words: price and value. Be careful, they are not the same thing.
You see, our promise has a life. It begins with the handshake. That's the initiation. Then there is a waiting period. It's life. And finally, the delivery day arrives. That is called maturity.
Now, what's really interesting here is the difference. The price is the rate for the oranges they agreed on, let's say 500 rupees per box. That is fixed. It will not change. But the value of the agreement itself, on the day they shake hands, is 0 for both of them. So, the crucial point is, when they make the deal, no money changes hands and the contract's value is 0. It is a fair deal for both. Understood? Good, good. But what happens during the waiting period between January and April? The world outside does not stop, no? The market for oranges keeps changing.
This is the best way to think about it. The value of the contract changes every day based on what is happening in the market. It's like the score on a cricket scoreboard changing after every ball. The match is not over, but we know who is winning right now. We call this the mark-to-market value.
Let's say there are heavy rains and many oranges are destroyed. Oh dear. So the market price for oranges is now expected to be 600 rupees. The juice company is very happy. Why? Because they have a contract to buy at only 500. For them, it is a paper gain. Now, what if the weather is perfect and there are too many oranges? The market price might fall to 400. Now our farmer is happy. She has a contract to sell at 500, so she has a paper gain, you see? It is a brilliant balance.
Finally, it is April. Delivery day has come. This is when the promise is fulfilled and the paper gains and losses become real.
The calculation at the end is very simple, just like a shopkeeper balancing his accounts at the end of the day. We just look at the market price on that day, we call it the spot price, and compare it to the price in our agreement.
And this is the final settlement. One person's gain is the other person's loss, exactly matching. The promise did its job, you see. It removed the uncertainty about the price for both of them. Now, very quickly, let's look at a special type. What if the thing we are agreeing on is not oranges, but an interest rate?
Don't worry about the big words. This is just another promise, exactly the same idea. It is called a forward rate agreement.
Think of it like booking a train ticket. You pay the fare today to lock in your seat for a journey next month. No, here you are doing the same thing. You are locking in an interest rate for a loan in the future.
And this is how simple it is. No big loan is actually given or taken. It's just a cash settlement to cover the difference, just like with our oranges. Easy, right? So the crucial point is that a forward contract is a powerful tool to manage risk from changing prices. So now I have a question for you. What price in your own life or business would you want to fix today? Thank you for learning with me. Keep studying. You are all doing very, very well.
Hello, my dear students, and welcome. Today, we will learn a very important topic. But please do not worry. We will make it very, very simple for you to understand.
So let us begin with a small puzzle, just for fun. I want you to think, what does a simple promise you make to your local shopkeeper and a train ticket you book from the IRCTC website, what could they possibly have in common? It seems a little strange, no? But the answer, you see, is the key to this entire topic.
You see, they are like two cousins. Let us call them Mr. Forward and Mr. Future. Mr. Forward, he is like your promise to the kirana wala, your local shopkeeper. It is a private promise, just between you and him. It is customized. But Mr. Future, he is like that train ticket. It is a public contract. It is standardized. Anyone can go to the exchange and buy it. It is not private at all.
Now here is something very important to remember, but it is also very easy. At the very beginning, when you make the promise or buy the ticket, has any money really changed hands? No, not yet. So at that moment, the value of the contract itself is zero. It is not an asset, it is not a liability, it is just an agreement for the future. Simple, isn't it?
So you might be asking, how is the price decided? Well, it is set at something called a no arbitrage price. Now this sounds very complicated, but it just means a fair price. It is calculated so that nobody can make a risk-free profit for free. It keeps everything fair and equal. And that is why at the very beginning, the price for Mr. Forward and Mr. Future is almost the same.
Okay, my dear students, please pay close attention now. If you remember only one thing from our discussion today, it should be this slide. This is the big, big difference. You see Mr. Forward? He just makes a note of the promise, and everything is settled in one go, right at the very end. But Mr. Future, he is different. His account is settled every single day. This daily settlement is the most important difference to remember.
And this daily process, it has a special name. It is called mark-to-market, or MTM. The best way to think of it is like a cricket match. After every day's play, they update the scoreboard, no? To see who is winning. MTM is exactly the same for Mr. Future's contract. Every day, they check the price and settle the profit or loss. So tell me, my students, who updates the score daily? Very good. It is Mr. Future's.
But you might wonder, how can we be sure that everyone can pay for their daily losses? For this, there is something called a margin account. You can just think of it like the safety deposit you give to your landlord when you rent a house. It is a small amount of money you keep aside just to cover any potential daily losses. It makes the system very safe for everyone.
So what happens if your safety deposit, your margin account, becomes too low because of some daily losses? You will get something called a margin call. Now, this name sounds a little scary, but do not worry. It is just like when your prepaid mobile balance is low and you get a message. It is simply a notice asking you to please top up your account back to the original level. That is all. Now, because of this daily cash payment, something interesting happens. Over time, the prices of Mr. Future and Mr. Forward can become a little different. Why? Well, think about it. With Mr. Future, if you make a profit, you get that cash in your hand on the same day. You can use that money. With Mr. Forward, you have to wait until the very end to get your money. And getting money sooner is always more valuable, isn't it?
Now, this price difference becomes most important when interest rates are changing a lot, but you do not need to worry about all the difficult maths. For your exam, just remember this one simple thing. The daily cash flow is the reason, the only reason, why the prices of Mr. Forward and Mr. Future can sometimes be different.
Look here. This table is very, very important for your revision. It puts everything together so nicely. Mr. Forward is private, custom, settled at the end, and so it has a higher risk that someone might not pay. But Mr. Future is public, standard, traded on an exchange, and settled daily. And because of this daily settlement, the risk is very, very low. Please take a good look at this. And so we come to the end. I will leave you with one final question to think about. For your exam, when you think of the two cousins, Mr. Forward and Mr. Future, which cousin's daily habit is the most important thing for you to remember? If you know the answer to this, then you have understood everything perfectly. All the very best to you, my dear student.
Hello, students. Welcome. Today we're going to talk about something called an interest rate swap. Now, I know, that sounds like a very big, very difficult word, doesn't it? But don't you worry. I promise you, by the end of our little chat today, it will be so simple. We are going to break it down and understand it together.
As it says, my name is Jennifer, and I will be your teacher for this topic. First thing I want you to do is just relax. Forget all the big, confusing financial words you may have heard, okay? We will not use them. We will learn everything with very, very simple examples from our own lives. We will go slowly, one step at a time.
All right, are we ready? Let's begin with our first section. So, what is this swap thing? What does it even mean? At its heart, it's nothing more than a simple exchange agreement.
Okay, look here. A swap is just an agreement. It's a promise, you see. A promise between two people that they will exchange some payments in the future. Now, you see this term cash flows? Don't get scared. It's just a fancy finance word for payments. That's all. So, a swap is just a promise to exchange money later on. Simple, right?
Now, to make this really clear, let's take an example from our daily life. Let's think about a mobile recharge plan. Imagine two friends, Anil and Sunita. Anil says, okay Sunita, I will pay a fixed amount every month, say 499 rupees. Just like a fixed monthly mobile plan, no? But Sunita says, okay Anil, I will pay the floating rate, whatever the market rate for data is on that day. Now, here is the important part. At the end of the month, do they give each other the full amount? No, they only exchange the difference in cash. And one more thing, please understand, no one's phone is actually getting recharged. The 499 rupees is just a number they use for their calculation. We call this a notional amount. It's just for the math. Simple, no?
Very good, very good. So now we know it's an exchange. Now let's ask another question. Is this exchange happening only one time, or is it happening many, many times? Let's find out.
So before we understand the many times part, first we must understand something called a forward. Don't worry, it's easy. Just think about booking a train ticket. You go on the railway website today, and you book a ticket for a journey maybe 3 months from now. You agree on the price today for one single journey in the future. That's it. That is a forward.
So now let's put them side by side. A forward contract, as we just saw, is one agreement for one future date, like buying just one train ticket for your journey in January. But an interest rate swap, that is one agreement for many future dates. It's not like one ticket. It's like buying a season pass for the whole year. One pass, many journeys. See the difference? A forward is for one single date, but a swap is for many dates. And this difference between one time and many times, it brings us to the most special part of a swap. I like to call it the magic of the swap. Let's see what it is.
Let's read this sentence together. A standard interest rate swap has a constant fixed rate over its life. What does constant mean? It means unchanging. It stays the same. Remember our friend Anil and his mobile plan? It was always $4.99 every month. It didn't change. Just like that, the fixed rate in a swap does not change for the whole agreement. This is very, very important.
So, did you understand this? This is the special power of a swap. If you had many forwards, you would need a different price for each one. But with a swap, you get one agreement for many dates with just one single fixed rate for all of them. Isn't that amazing? That is its special power.
Okay, so we know what a swap is. But you must be thinking, Jennifer, ma'am, why are we learning this? Who uses this? And that is a very good question. Let's see now how a big company can use a swap to go from being very worried to feeling very safe and certain. Let me tell you a little story about a company called Esther Incorporated. Now, step 1. Esther Inc. has a big problem. They have taken a big loan from a bank. And the interest they have to pay on this loan, it keeps changing. One month it is high, next month it is low, just like the price of tomatoes in the market. This is very risky for a business, no? How can they plan? So, step 2, they find a solution. They make a swap agreement with a bank. They agree to pay a fixed rate of 2.05%. And in return, they will receive a floating rate from the bank. Now, step 3. Here is the magic. The floating rate they get from the swap, they can use that money to pay the floating rate on their loan. They just pass it on. The two floating rates, poof, they cancel each other out. So what is the result? Step 4. Esther Inc. is now left with only one payment to worry about, that fixed interest cost. They know exactly how much they have to pay. Now they can have peace of mind. So now their total cost is fixed. It is that 2.05% they pay on the swap, plus a small extra charge from their original loan of 1.5%. So in total, their expense is locked at 3.55%. It doesn't matter now if the market rates go up to the sky or down to the ground. Their cost is fixed. They are safe. This is how swaps bring certainty.
Wonderful students! You are doing so well. We are at our last section. We know what a swap is, we know why a company uses it, but there's one last thing to learn. Does the value of the swap agreement itself change? Well, let's think of it like a cricket scoreboard.
So let's think about this. Anil and Sunita made their agreement today. But what if, 1 month later, the market interest rates suddenly change? Does someone become a winner? Does someone become a loser? Does the value of their promise change? What do you think?
This is very important to remember. At the very beginning, when the agreement is made, the value of the swap is 0. It's a fair deal. Nobody's winning, nobody is losing. It's like when a cricket match starts. The score is 0-0. But as time goes by and interest rates change, the value of the swap also changes, just like the score in a cricket match.
So let's see this cricket match. Who is happy and who is sad when the rates change? Think about Anil, the person who is paying a fixed rate. What happens if the market rates go up? Oh, he will be so happy. Why? Because he is paying a low fixed amount, while everyone else is paying a very high market rate. He has a gain. It's like his team is scoring runs. But what if the market rates go down? Now Anil is sad. He is stuck paying a high fixed rate when the market rate is very low. He has a loss. It's like the other team just took a wicket. And for Sunita, who is receiving the fixed rate, her situation is exactly the opposite.
So let's just quickly revise everything we learned today, okay? First, a swap is a very simple agreement to exchange payments. Second, it's like having many train tickets but with just one constant fixed rate for all of them. Third, companies use it to change a risky payment into a safe, predictable one. And finally, the value of the swap changes over time, just like our cricket scoreboard. See? You have learned everything.
So today, we have seen how a swap can bring safety to a company. But think about it. We also talked about a winner and a loser, like in a cricket match. So could this swap also be used for taking big risks? Almost like gambling on which way the rates will go? That is a very interesting thought, isn't it? But that is a story for another day. Thank you so much for learning with me today. You all did a wonderful job.
Hello and welcome. Today we are going to break down what really makes up the value of an option. I know, it can seem very complex, but trust me, we are going to make it very, very simple. Okay, are you ready? Let's begin.
Hello, students. I am James, and it will be my pleasure to be your guide for this explainer.
You know, finance can sometimes feel like a very difficult subject, but please, do not worry. Together, we will break it all down, step by step. So, let's start with a simple question. When you look at the price of an option, what is actually inside that price? What are the ingredients? You see, just like when you buy a samosa, you're paying for the potato, the flour, the spices. So, what are you paying for in an option?
It's actually very simple. An option's price is made of only two things. First, its exercise value. That's what the option is worth right now at this very moment. And second, its time value. This is the potential of what it could be worth in the future. You can think of it like a shopkeeper's account book, you know? One part is the cash he has in his hand today, and the other part is the money he hopes his customers will pay him later.
To understand this properly, let's use an example that I think we all love: cricket. Imagine you buy a ticket for the big India versus Australia final, but the match is 3 months away. The price you pay for that ticket today has two parts, just like our option.
The first part, the exercise value, is just like the price that is printed on the ticket, its face value. It is the official basic worth if you had to use it today. Simple. It is the value now. Now, for the second part, the time value. Why would you pay extra for this ticket? It's because you have hope. Yes, hope. You hope that maybe Virat Kohli will score a double century, that it will be a historic, nail-biting match that everyone will talk about for years. This hope, this chance that the ticket will become much more valuable by the time the match happens, this hope itself has a price. And that, my students, is the time value.
Okay, so let's look a little closer at that first part, the value now, which we called the exercise value. To understand this, we use a very simple idea called moneyness. It sounds like a big word, but it's just a way of asking a simple question. If I had to use my option right now, this very second, would I make a profit? That's all it is.
Now this table here gives us the simple rules for moneyness. An option is called in the money if it's profitable right now. So for a call option where you have the right to buy, that happens when the current market price, we call it the spot price, is greater than your fixed exercise price. And the opposite is true for a put option, where you want the spot price to be lower. And if they are exactly equal, well then the option is at the money. Let's go back to our cricket ticket example. Let's say you bought it for a fixed price of 1,000 rupees. That is your exercise price. Now, just before the match, the excitement is so high that the spot price for the same ticket is 5,000 rupees. Your right to buy at 1,000 is now very, very profitable, no? Your ticket is deep in the money. Okay, a quick question for you, just to check our understanding. Are you ready? You have a put option. That's the right to sell a stock at an exercise price of 100. Today, the stock spot price in the market is only 90. So my question is your option in the money? Just think about it for a moment. You have the right to sell for 100 something that is only worth 90. That's a great deal. You would make a profit of 10. So yes, absolutely, your option is in the money. Well done. Excellent. Now that we understand the value now, let's look at the second part of the price, the time value. This is that hope factor we were talking about, the extra amount of money you pay for the possibility that things might get even better in the future. So really, the formal definition of time value is very simple. It's the option's total price minus its current exercise value. Whatever is left over, that is the time value. That leftover amount is what you are paying for chance, for time, and for the hope that the stock price will move in your favor before the option expires. But there is a small problem with this hope. As the final day, the expiration date, gets closer and closer, there is less and less time for your hope to come true. This loss of hope value has a special name, time value decay. And a perfect way to think about it is like a big block of ice on a hot day. In the morning, it is very big, but as time passes, it just slowly melts away, drip, drip, drip. And by the end of the day, it is gone. So we now know an options price has two parts, exercise value and time value. But what makes these values go up or down? Well, there are several key factors. Think of it like our cricket match again. The weather could change, a star player might get injured, many things can change the excitement and the ticket price. It is exactly the same for options.
Now, what's very important to understand is that one factor can affect call and put options in opposite ways. Let's take the exercise price. For a call option, which is the right to buy, a higher exercise price is bad news for you. It makes the option worth less. But for a put option, the right to sell, a higher selling price is fantastic, so it makes that option worth more. You see? Opposite effects.
Now, here is a very, very interesting factor, volatility. This word just means how much the stock price jumps up and down. Is it calm or is it moving wildly? More volatility is like having a very unpredictable batsman, like Rishabh Pant playing in the match. He might get out for 0, or he might hit 100 runs in just 50 balls. You just don't know. For someone holding an option, this uncertainty is actually good. Why? Because your loss is limited, but your profit could be huge. So more unpredictability increases that hope value for both call and put options. And this table here puts all of these key factors together for us very nicely. Please take a moment to look at it. You will notice how volatility, that unpredictability we just talked about, increases the value for both calls and puts. See the plus signs? But now look at the underlying price. As it goes up, it helps a call option, but it hurts a put option. This is a very, very useful summary to remember. Now you may be asking, James, why have we spent all this time on these basic blocks? Well, it's because understanding exercise value and time value is the most important first step. If you understand this properly, you are building a strong house. Without a good foundation, everything else you learn about options will be very confusing. So let's just quickly recap the key things to remember. First, an options price is simply its value now plus its potential value later. Second, moneyness is a simple word that tells you if you're making a profit today. Third, Time value is just the price you pay for hope. And finally, uncertainty or volatility is generally a friend to an option's value.
By really grasping these ideas, you are building a very strong foundation, not just for your CFA studies, but for understanding all of derivatives. This is the first and the most important step, and you have done very well. Very good.
And to leave you with a little something to think about for next time. We said that more time adds hope value, right? So if time is a good thing, then why do people often call an option a wasting asset? Think about our melting ice cube. We will explore that question more next time. Thank you so much for learning with me.
Hello, my dear students, and welcome. Today, we're going to look at a topic with a very big name: put-call parity. But please don't let the name scare you. At its heart, it's just a simple and actually quite beautiful balancing act. Think of it like a little magic trick in finance, where everything just fits together perfectly. So let's begin and see how this magic works. There's a very simple rule in finance, and it is a rule in life also. If two different things promise you the exact same result in the future, they must have the same price today. It's only fair, right? If they don't, the market has a funny way of pushing them back into balance. And that simple idea is everything we are going to explore today. To understand this, let's imagine we are at a vegetable shop. You have all seen the shopkeeper's weighing scale, no? The one we call a terazu. We're going to take that terazu and place two baskets on it, one on each side. These baskets will look completely different from each other, but like magic, you will see that they weigh exactly the same. Okay, let's start with our first basket. Don't worry, we will build it together, piece by piece, very slowly. This first basket is all about a simple idea: how to protect something valuable that you already own. So the first item in our basket is something called an underlying asset. Such a big word, but the meaning is so simple. It's just something you own that has value. For example, imagine you have a ticket for the big India-Pakistan cricket match. Wow, that ticket is your asset. If our team is playing well, its value might go up. If a star player gets injured, its value might go down. That ticket is our underlying asset. Simple? Now, you have this valuable ticket, but you are worried. What if it rains on the day of the match? Oh no, the match will be canceled and your ticket will be worthless. So what do? You buy a little rain insurance. This insurance says that if the match is canceled, you will get your money back. In finance, this simple insurance has a special name. We call it a put option. That's all it is, just an insurance policy. So, what do we have in our first basket now? We have our valuable cricket ticket and we have the rain insurance for it. Put them together, and what do you get? A completely safe, protected investment. No matter what happens, rain or no rain, you are covered. And this simple idea, having a ticket and its insurance, has a proper fancy name in your CFA books. It is called a protective put. So next time you see this big term, don't be scared. Just remember our cricket ticket with its rain insurance. It is the exact same thing. So, before we go to the next part, let's just make sure we all understood. A quick question for you. What is the simplest way to think about a put option? Excellent work. Now for the other side of our Tarabrozu, we have to build the second basket. It is called a fiduciary call. I know, another very big and fancy name. But please don't worry. The idea is just as simple as the first one. For this basket, let's imagine a different story. This time, you don't buy the cricket ticket today. Instead, you pay the seller a small fee, like a token amount, to reserve the ticket. This reservation gives you the right to buy that ticket next month, but at today's price. This right to buy is what we call a call option. It's very important to remember, you don't own the ticket yet. You only own the choice to buy it later. Now, because you only paid a small fee for the reservation, you have a lot of money left over. What do you do with that money? You do something very sensible. You put it in a safe bank fixed deposit, an FT. I am sure your parents have FTs. You know the money is safe and it will grow a little bit, guaranteed. In finance, we call this super safe investment a risk-free bond. It is just a safe place to keep your money. So let's look inside our second basket. What do we have? We have the right to buy the ticket, our reservation, and we have the rest of our money growing safely in a bank FD. This is a very smart savings plan, isn't it? You have the chance for a big gain, but your savings are also safe. And this combination also has a special name, of course. This strategy is called a fiduciary call. So now you know what it is. It's simply a call option plus a safe investment like an FD. See? Nothing to worry about. Okay, let's just pause here for a very important question. Let's make sure we understand the key difference. In our first basket, we owned the ticket itself. In the second basket, we only own the right to buy the ticket. That small difference is everything. It's so important to remember that. All right, everyone, get ready. This is the most exciting part. This is the aha moment, the magic show. We have our two baskets ready. Basket 1 has the ticket plus its insurance. Basket 2 has the right to buy plus the bank FD. Now let's put them on our shopkeeper's terazu and see what happens. Now this is where the magic happens. Look very carefully. Let's think about the future. First scenario, the price of the ticket goes way up. Well, in basket 1, you own the valuable ticket, so you are very happy. In basket 2, you use your right to buy the ticket at the old cheap price. You are also very happy. The final value is the same. Now, what if the price goes down? In basket 1, your insurance pays you back a guaranteed amount. You are safe. In basket 2, you simply don't buy the ticket and you have your safe money from the FDI. Again, a guaranteed amount. Do you see? No matter what happens, up or down, the final value of both baskets is exactly the same. They are perfectly balanced. Now, when you open your textbook, you will see this formula. And I know it looks very scary. So many letters and numbers, but please, don't be afraid. You already know what this means. This is just a mathematician's way of saying basket 1 equals basket 2. That's all. It is our terazu story, just written in the language of math. But let's ask a question. What if a shopkeeper is cheating? What if the terazu is not balanced? Imagine basket 1 is selling for 100 rupees, but basket 2 is selling for only 98 rupees. We know they should be equal. Well, when the market makes a mistake like this, it creates a very special opportunity for clever people like you. This special opportunity is called arbitrage. It just means making a profit with zero risk. It's like free money. Imagine you see a mobile phone for sale in one shop for 10,000 rupees. And right next door, the exact same phone is selling for 12,000 rupees. What would you do? Of course, you'd buy the phone for 10,000 and immediately sell it in the other shop for 12,000. You just made 2,000 rupees of instant, risk-free profit. That, my students, is arbitrage. So how do we do it with our baskets? The process is very simple. Just 4 logical steps. First, you spot the mistake. You see the scale is tilted. One basket is priced cheaper than the other. Second, you sell the expensive basket. Third, you use that money to buy the cheap basket. And fourth, The money that is left over in your pocket is your risk-free profit. You are basically helping the market fix its own mistake, and it pays you for your help. Now, you might be thinking, okay, James, sir, this is a very nice trick, but is it important? And the answer is yes, my dear students, it is very, very important. This simple idea of balance is a building block that helps us understand much bigger, more complex ideas, like how an entire company really works. Let's think about a company. It has owners, we call them shareholders. And it has lenders, the banks that gave it a loan, who we call debt holders. Well, the shareholders' position is like having a call option. If the company does very, very well, their profit can be unlimited. But if the company fails, they can lose all their money. Now, what about the lenders? Their position is like selling a put option. Their profit is limited. They just want their loan money back with some interest. But if the company fails, they are at risk of losing their money too. See, our simple balancing act helps us understand the risks and rewards for everyone. So let's just quickly summarize the 3 key things to remember from today. First, 2 baskets that look very different can actually give you the exact same result. Second, this magical relationship is what we call put-call parity. And third, if this balance is ever broken, an opportunity for risk-free profit, called arbitrage, appears to put things back in balance. You have all learned something very important today. Thank you for being such attentive students. You now see this beautiful, hidden connection that a cricket ticket with insurance can be exactly the same as a ticket reservation with a bank deposit. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other secret connections and magical balancing acts are just waiting to be discovered in the world of finance? Keep asking these questions. Well done today, everyone.
Hello, my dear students. I am James, and today we are going to learn something very interesting about finance in a very simple way.
This is our lesson plan for today, and we will go through it step by step. So don't you worry at all.
First, let us imagine a very simple world, a world where only 2 things can happen.
Just like in cricket, where only one of 2 things might happen on the last ball, our stock for today can only move in one of 2 directions.
Let's look at this table. The stock is 80 euros today, and in 1 year, it will either be 110 euros or 60 euros. That is all.
Now, let's introduce a special kind of ticket, which in finance we call an option.
This call option is just like a coupon that lets you buy the stock for a fixed price of 100 euros in 1 year.
So, as this slide shows, if the price goes up to 110 euros, our option is worth 10 euros. But if it goes down, our option is worth 0.
Can you tell me what the value of the coupon is if the stock price goes down? Very good, it is 0.
Now for the truly clever part. We will combine the stock and the option to remove all the risk, just like a farmer who plants 2 different crops.
We will create a perfectly balanced or hedged portfolio by selling our option and buying just the right amount of the stock.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the magic number, our hedge ratio, which we have calculated to be 0.20.
And this brilliantly illustrates the magic. No matter if the stock goes up or down, our portfolio is worth exactly 12 euros in the future.
Since we know our portfolio will be worth 12 euros for sure, we can easily find the fair price of the option today.
Any investment that is 100% safe must earn this risk-free rate, which is like the interest on a bank FD. To find the value of our safe portfolio today, we simply discount that certain 12 euros back to today using the 5% risk-free rate.
So the crucial point is that by simple subtraction, we find the fair price of our call option today is $4.57.
Let's move to and see how this builds. There is an even faster way, a clever shortcut to get the exact same answer. This method uses something called risk-neutral probabilities, but don't worry about the name. Just see that it is a different road that leads to the same destination.
So, why do we learn all of this? Why does this matter to you?
Here are the most important things to remember from our session today.
This quote from the material summarizes the main idea beautifully.
We use what we know about the future to make the present certain. I will leave you with this final thought, my dear students. You have taken your first step, and the journey from here is limitless.